Hey, it's Alexander Creek, astrologer and psychic medium, otherwise known as Dark Star Oracle. Welcome to this video/podcast on the new moon in Aries coming up on April 16th, as well as a check-in/reading for each of the 12 rising signs. So if you have been following me for a little bit, welcome back. If you're brand new to the channel and to this podcast, hello. It's nice to have you. Make sure that you like the video, subscribe, leave me a comment. And if you're listening on the audio, leave me a 5-star review if you're feeling generous as well. It helps people find me. So I just wanted to let you know too, before we get into this video, that I'm starting something new on this new moon. So we're going to be starting a dog star new moon circle with this new moon in Aries. As you know, Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. And so this new moon has a lot of sort of supercharged kind of long-term beginning qualities. And I felt like it was time, something that I've had in my head for a while is doing a new moon circle every month where we combine learning more about the astrology of each new moon, because as you know, each new moon is the beginning of also like a new lunar cycle. So you can plant seeds, set intentions, and also sweep things away and clear things away as well under a new moon energy. So I would teach you about how that affects your own birth chart and kind of how to strategically tune into that energy or what to expect beyond just watching me on a video or getting a reading from me. You will learn how to do it yourself. This is going to be online via Zoom, so you can do it anywhere in the world. You can also do it, if you can't make it live, you can also do it perfectly fine on your own via a recording. The other cool part of this is that we are going to be working with ritual, magic, doing energy work during each new moon as well. During this new moon in Aries workshop, we're going to be working with the planet Mars. I'm going to invite you to bring a red candle or wear red, as we will be connecting with Mars, the planet, that Mars in Aries, the warrior pioneering energy. And during this ritual, we're going to be burning up our fear, connecting to courage, connecting to passion, and clearing the way for these new beginnings of the year. So if you want to get witchy with me, do energy work, learn more about astrology, you can either do a one-off class or you can do this monthly. And if you do the monthly option, this is going to be on Patreon. And that monthly option, every full moon, you'll receive a little mini tarot reading from me as well. So we're building kind of our witchy coven and learning astrology with me. So if you are interested, you can follow the links below in the comment section on YouTube or in the show notes. You can also go to darkstaroracle.com where the information to register and sign up will be there as well. So really looking forward to getting that going. But without further ado, let's talk about the energy of this new moon as well as reading for your sign. So Mercury is, how we think reason has to do with like logistics, data, communication, information, correspondence. And it has been Mercury has been really waterlogged. Like it has been in Pisces since February 7th. And I just feel like it has been stuck in this sign for so long. Mercury in the sign of Pisces is a sign of its detriment in fall. So, Mercury in Pisces is great for creativity, for spiritual inspiration, for messages and dreams and listening to your intuition. But it can be a little bit more difficult to analyze things, to form like a solid plan, because Pisces is considering all the different like variables. It's sort of following its gut feeling, but it's not great with like spreadsheets, looking at facts. And it's been in Pisces for an unusually long amount of time due to the fact that it was it was retrograde in that sign. So Mercury finally moving into Aries, I think, and joining this party in Aries, it's like we're really going to be, number one, just moving quicker. Like it's like, okay, I have a plan of action. Let's go. Like thinking quickly, thinking on your feet. There's also been all this news about like people burning warehouses, I think belonging to like big corporations and stuff, and expressions of anger, expressions of passion, and just sort of being spontaneous with like sharing how you feel. And that feeling, likely being linked to anger, to passion, which is a very kind of Aries thing. But Mercury joining this party, this sort of new moon party, a couple days before, I think is very telling of this energy. Personally, I'm breathing a sigh of relief because I'm wanting something different, with Mercury getting out of Pisces. I will say I kind of wonder internationally, obviously there's been more global conflict and stuff because the United States, for whatever reason, decided to invade Iran, which is illegal, by the way, because no one actually voted on this. The president just unilaterally decided he's going to do this. But Mercury going into Aries, I think, is definitely going to kind of shift the tone And, it's kind of giving me a feeling of more, saber rattling or just like, because Aries is like, hey, if you don't do this, I'm gonna punch you. That's sort of Aries's thing. So, but I will say on a personal level, I am relieved that Aries is moving forward and things connected to planning, to just like, and I wouldn't say having a careful plan, but just like being able to have a plan of action and making a decision. That's sort of what this new moon is sort of feeling like to me. The biggest thing with this new moon is the fact that Mars, the planet of passion, the planet of war, action, conflict, motivation, energy, is in the sign of Aries and has been in this sign since about April 9th. And it's going to be here until May 18th. Mars is the planet that governs Aries. So Mars in Aries is very much its home energy. And this new moon being in Aries answers to Mars. Looking at the ruling planet of any lunation is going to tell you about the flavor of that new moon, is going to tell you about what energy that we're working with, about how things are going to be going. And Mars in Aries is very much like, let's get going. Let's charge in. Let's move forward. There's a lot about this new moon that it's like new era, new beginning, wipe the slate clean, let's go. So if you need bravery, if you feel like you just sort of need to get some fire, inside you, fire inside you. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? If you need to get that inner fire going, this is going to be the new moon that helps you do that. Mars in Aries is like the commander on the battlefield. This is the brave warrior charging in. This is also too like, Mars is not just about fighting in conflict and taking action on things. This is also passion, like connecting to an inner spark, to an inner passion, like the thing that makes you excited about life, the thing that makes you say yes without really considering like we've all said yes to something in life where we haven't really fully considered like the ramifications and all that it's gonna like cost and all the things that we have to do, but we just feel an inner gut feeling that's like, just move forward. This is a thing for you. This is kind of that new moon for me. And because Aries is cardinal fire, cardinal meaning the modality. So cardinal signs always fall at the beginning of a season. They initiate something, and Aries is this very kind of initiating energy, like beginning something. Fire is very passionate and dynamic. So this is a supercharged new beginning, passionate, dynamic new moon. The thing with Mars right now is Mars will be conjunct Saturn. During this new moon, Mars will be moving really close to Saturn. It doesn't go exact until the 18th, which is the following day. Saturn is the planet of delays, limits, and blockages and restriction. It's like the planet of maturity, lessons, and long-term commitment. So Saturn will be kind of trying to restrain or hold Mars back in some way. So under this new moon, like we may wanting to get something new going in our life. We may want to strike out on something new or, go in some sort of new direction. Mars is going to want to say, I want to move fast. Mercury's like, I have the plan, let's go. Saturn this may manifest as, having to tweak your plan, it not moving as fast as you would like. Maybe there's like different rules and restrictions that you have to kind of get around, or like just the feeling of some delays. Like Saturn will test you under this new moon, and it will require like effort. It's like, if it doesn't work the first way, then you have to try it a second way. Or like, Saturn also rules elders and people that are like wise, or people that are in charge. So it may require like working with those energies as well to kind of get this plan off the ground. On a worldwide level, Mars and Saturn is blockages, and considering that a lot about this whole Iran conflict right now is the Strait of Hormuz, I believe it's what it's called. Mars, Saturn representing this blockage, and that strait, everyone's fighting over it. We can't decide how to open it. It's blocked, it's whatever. So I think intense topics around that. And also I am hoping too that Saturn here does help to restrain, sometimes the violence that Mars can represent. So, best case scenario is we work slowly toward a solution with that. And I'm hoping that Saturn kind of helps to tame Mars on that kind of international conflict level. But on a personal level, just know that you're going to have to be patient. There's something about that's like, I have to be patient. I have to really see something through. But also by Saturn helping to sort of teach perseverance, there is some really, really good lesson there. And this is going to be tied into the Aries part of your chart. And I think on some level, the Scorpio part of your chart as well, because Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio as well. So, Mars going into Aries definitely livens up the Aries part of your chart, right? So for me, I'm Scorpio rising. Aries is my 6th house of work, daily work routines, health habits, exercise, health routines, things like that. So I can definitely see how I'm wanting to get some new things going there, to get some new protocols introduced, to getting a new work thing going. But it's clear that it's going to take some time for it to get off the ground for me, but it's something that is well worthwhile. It's something that is sort of worthwhile. But it's going to take some sort of perseverance. And then also in the Scorpio part of my chart, Scorpio is my 1st house of self, physical body, identity, just kind of giving me some fire, some spark, So is there anything else I need to mention with this new moon? I will mention with this new moon is pretty much exactly conjunct Chiron. Chiron is an interesting body in astrology. It has to do with has a lot to do with healing and a core wound, something hurts. So there's maybe another layer around this new moon with Chiron can be about healing or forgiveness, but this is Aries. So it's kind of giving me something hurts and enough is enough. We have had enough, and this new moon in Aries happening about 27 degrees, toward the end of the sign. And I just I get a fed up feeling from the collective here. It's we are taking action. We are sick of you telling me what to do. For example, our fascist government right now, ICE, all this shit. It's very much people, I think, resisting and fighting back. And on a personal level, this could definitely be working through something that hurts or realizing where you have some sort of healing or forgiveness work to do. But again, I'm not seeing this so much as compassion. I am just seeing this as I'm at the end of my rope. What am I going to do about it? There's some sort of pain point. And this new moon, I think, is asking, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to take action on that thing and solve that problem? Because again, this new moon in Aries, as much as it is about charging forward and initiation, with Mars conjunct Saturn with this new moon, and I think it's really kind of giving problem solving. How am I going to tackle this thing and make it better? Because the reality of it is staring me in the face. There is no getting out of this new moon, not taking a stand, not being courageous, and not taking action. You will feel better when you say the thing. When you say why your feelings are hurt, you will feel better when you're okay, I have all these bills to pay. How am I going to do this? Or what is this problem in my life I have to deal with? By taking action under this new moon is the best medicine. So let's talk about what that means for each of the 12 signs. So before we get going here, just know that it's always going to be it's generally going to be more accurate forecast for you for listening for your rising sign. Then you can layer in your sun or your moon if you would like, especially if you're born during the daytime, I might listen to the sun. If you're born at night, you might listen to the moon instead. But start with the rising first. But again, if you don't know the rising sign, the sun or moon might resonate for you as well. Okay. So also your rising sign is going to be in the timestamps. Whether you're listening on the audio, that's going to be in the show notes. You can find exactly where your sign is. Same on YouTube. You can actually just click on the section that has your rising sign or the sign that you want to listen to. So let's go ahead and jump in for Aries. Okay, Aries. So if you're Aries rising, even if you're Aries sun or moon, this is a very personally felt new moon. This is This is in your sign. So this is connected to identity, physical body, physical vitality, and health. This is very much beginning of a new chapter for you. There's a lot going on for you at the moment. One thing, with Mars conjunct Saturn, Mars ruling this new moon, this is this you need to have some grit and perseverance in this new moon. It's like you really do have to connect to your inner warrior, or the inner part of you that does not give up, because this is a healing new moon for you. If there's something in your life where you're like, enough is enough, taking action on something, this might be a new moon for you about also maybe approaching some kind of healthy conflict or setting a boundary, and just because there's there's a lot of planets in your sign during this new moon. And so just I think this new moon can affect you on many areas, or you can use it for a boost of energy in many different areas. So I would not restrict it to be like, well, he's not saying this, part of your chart or this part of my life, so it's like I can't use it for that. If you want to use this new moon magically too, like we're going to do this in my new moon course, or in my new moon class, I definitely would sign up for that, by the way. But a little preview is we're going to be doing some candle magic and, tuning into the planet Mars, connecting to our inner warrior, our inner fire, like burning away any of our last fucks, like, why do I give a fuck about what people think about me? We're going to kind of light that on fire. So for you, plant intentions on any area you would like. This new moon is great for sowing seeds of new beginnings, but you will have to work for those new beginnings at first. Or it may feel initially like, let's say that you're wanting more money or something. With this new moon energy, because this Mars is conjunct Saturn, it might look like a little bit more limited at first, or be like, why isn't this magic working? I feel like I have less than I did before. It's like with Mars conjunct Saturn, it may be like revealing like where like the problem is, or where maybe in your energy you have some like limiting beliefs or some restrictions. So again, supercharged new beginning for you. Consider that Saturn moving into your sign a few months ago, and it's going to be here until April 2028. So for the next 2 years, you're learning about perseverance. You're learning about, to keep going when the going gets tough. You're learning to set strong boundaries with people. You're learning to, you're kind of becoming more mature over time, or just sort of setting good boundaries for yourself, or even just becoming more responsible and being maybe like a leader and teacher for others as well. So that's really kind of coded into this new moon for you. And don't forget that this moon can be about cauterizing or burning something away, with that new moon conjunct Chiron. It's like burning away like the wound or something too. So interesting energy for you. Definitely tune into this energy if you are if you are Aries or Aries rising. Taurus, this new moon is in your 12th. It's an interesting new moon for you. It's interesting because a new moon in the 12th house, I would say like, hey, there's definitely maybe a need for some rest, rest retreat mode, kind of being away from the world in a little, whether that's in your bedroom, whether you're out in nature, maybe your dream life is really active. This could also be about working on something in the background, or that we're furiously working on something, or there's a lot of action, but it's not immediately visible to people. With this new moon being ruled by Mars recently was conjunct Neptune. It still kind of is. It's moving away from that. And that might have brought up some fears, that might have brought up some insecurities, or letting self-doubt or other, subconscious beliefs, speak to you. That could be inspiring. You could be tuning into dreams and inspiration and imagination. The other side of that is fears and paranoia, and like, oh my God, am I actually as good as I think I am? Or like, what if I'm not good enough? Like those kinds of things can really come in, under, especially like the kind of days before, especially like around April 12th is when that energy was the strongest. And then now Mars is going to be conjunct Saturn, that planet of like delays and restrictions and limitations. So there's some stuff here about like, rest and recharge so you can get up to fight another day. and just a lot of stuff going on for you in the background. So if you're feeling like just like, I feel kind of weird, I feel weird, Alex, like, I don't know what's going on, like what's going on with me. There's just a lot of planets in your 12th house right now. And I think mental health, spiritual health, doing something where you're cleansing or burning away, cleansing or burning away like beliefs that don't serve you anymore. Maybe clearing your energy. Maybe you could be carrying other people's energy that you don't even realize. Like I would cleanse and clear and protect and rest under this new moon, or this new moon is really good for working on things that are in the background. So just keep that in mind under this new moon. And as you know, your season is coming up pretty shortly here. Reminder for you, Taurus, that Venus, the planet, your planet, the planet of love, beauty, relationships, sex, pleasure, is in Taurus right now. And she'll be in Taurus toward the end, I think around, let's see here. She'll be in Taurus up until about April 24th. So really like there are some pleasures of life for you to enjoy right now. And make sure that you tune into Venus as well for some relief, for some enjoyment of life. All right, Gemini rising. So all this Aries stuff is in your 11th house. The 11th house is like friends, groups, your networks of people, goals, wishes, hopes, and aspirations for the future, as well as like the income from job, because it's the second house from your 10th, which is career, or just like the what you get from what you do in the world, essentially. So yeah, that house is very active for you. This new moon could mean, a new alliance or a group that you're a part of. It's like it's really kind of injecting some fire and passion into this part of your chart. This, as far as like the groups and friends kind of aspect, this is not so much like a relating and getting along with everyone new moon. This is like motivation, action, energy. So it could be that that there's just simply like more action in this part of your life, like my professional life is busier. Like there's just like networking or something important around that. This could also be about wiping the slate clean and like something fresh as far as like what your hopes and wishes and goals for the future on, like the things that you want to manifest and work on. This is like kind of wiping the slate clean is sort of what it feels like to me. And so like whatever you get going here, I would say because Mars will be conjunct Saturn, there's maybe some delays on it or it takes a little bit longer, but it's like the effort will be well worth it. Sometimes Mars here can mean conflict and a little inflammation. So this could be like setting a boundary, a little dust up with maybe someone in your professional circles, in your social circles, maybe having to set like a hard boundary or something there. But there's just like a lot going on in that part of your chart. And since your ruling planet Mercury moved into that part of your chart as well, I just expect a lot of action and themes connected to that part of your chart. And maybe more than one thing going on around that new moon. Cancer rising. New moon is in your 10th house. The 10th house is loud because it is an angular part of your charts right at the top. The 10th house has to do with like your public reputation, career, bosses, mentors, authority figures, and like reputation in general, and just sort of it's a very visible public place. So if you're looking for a fresh start in career, and I'm not saying that you're getting a job right after this new moon is happening, it definitely could for sure, but this is also like long-term beginnings of like refreshing kind of what your work and career looks like. This could be something that's already in the works, but just sort of like somehow accelerating during this time, because Saturn being in your 10th house is a big deal too. Saturn moved in February. It's going to move out not until 2028 and in April. So there's maybe more responsibilities in your career. Maybe you're scaling things back because Saturn is like restrictions, right? But there's some responsibility that you have to carry, but maybe we don't know if we want it, this could represent, so this new moon is like, there's something that's getting going here. There's some action kind of getting going here. At the same time, maybe we're met with restrictions and delays, or we have to consult a mentor or an authority figure on something. this could also look like, setting a boundary in your career or like setting restrictions, because Mars hitting Saturn is like, okay, I've been working too much. I'm hitting burnout. I need to pull back a little bit. But it's like this part of your chart is just very active. There just could be news around bosses and mentors or people in your professional life or things changing in your work environment. But as far as like if you're wanting to set like a new intention for like a new career or career shifts or work, definitely use this new moon energy, set an intention, light a candle, light a red candle like we're going to do in my new moon workshop. If you want some ideas on how to get that going, I definitely would sign up for that. So yeah, that part of your chart, active. And don't forget about Jupiter. Transiting Jupiter is still in your first house. Jupiter's opportunity, expansion, saying yes to things, having like the confidence. It's like there's something about like maybe like confidence in your professional life as well with this new moon. So loud new moon for you. So Leo rising, this is ninth house energy. So really loud activations going on for you as far as higher education, travel, spirituality, higher mind, philosophy, what you believe. It's like your big picture for what your sort of worldview, essentially. So the new moon here could be like, yeah, I'm making travel plans. I am looking at plans to go back to school or finish my degree. I am looking at an astrology course. I am planting seeds on, kind of just expanding my mind and worldview at this time. There's something that really gets going with that. There's like an action that's connected to that, or there is some sort of push forward. Maybe that is met by a little bit of like, oh, you have to wait. There's like a delay, or there's this extra thing that we have to do, or realizing that it's going to take a little bit more effort than we thought, just because Mars is going to be hitting Saturn here. At the same time, maybe there is something about healing, about spirituality, on like finding a fresh perspective on things, because this new moon is conjunct Chiron, that the comet / asteroid, about Chiron is about the wounded healer, and there's something about maybe coming to the end of the journey or having some sort of higher perspective on something that I just find really interesting with that with that new moon conjunct Chiron. But yeah, lighting up a lot of ninth house things. There's just something that's getting going there. Virgo rising. This new moon is falling in the 8th house for you. So there's some action that we're taking, action getting going around. 8th house can often be me and a partner's resources, like a mutual bank account, or in loans, investments, inheritance, financial things that we have to deal with. Like, the 8th house can also represent fears, and money is often tied into fears as well. It's like, oh, I don't have enough to like live on or like survive, or like, and so I just feel like we're gaining independence over some things that we don't have a lot of control over. Like that's an 8th house thing, because it's Aries with the 8th house, right? So, or, anything connected to refinancing, credit cards, inheritance, family money, that kind of thing. And the 8th house is also just like deeply the 8th house is deeply psychological, because the 8th house can be about like fears and traumas and stuff. And I feel like there's something about embracing some courage, embracing some inner fire to tackle the things that we don't have a lot of control over, that could also be like the deeper stuff with like relationship dynamics. It's also 8th house too. Is like 7th house is like where we establish the partnership. 8th house is like, okay, I've been living with someone for a while, and I can see your wounded inner child, and you can see my worst fears. That's like the 8th house stuff. So I think this new moon actually would be good for some kind of magic or some kind of meditation for you. Again, take my workshop. That'll be really good. Because the 8th house is also associated with like the occult and like mystical kinds of things. But yeah, I'm going to say like financial independence or taking some action in regard to finances is sort of what I'm getting here. Or I could also see clearing and releasing and burning away like old psychic wounds and old psychic energy is sort of what I get here, like making a breakthrough. Libra rising. This new moon is in your 7th house of partnership. All right. You got a lot going on there, kiddo. Because not only do we have Mercury, Neptune, Mars, Saturn here, this is where the new moon in Chiron is. So there is, you're thinking about relationships more deeply, I would say, since at least February. And we also had a preview of this last year during the months of May through September when Saturn was in Aries then. So maybe it's that you are getting more into committed, that your vibe is now more committed relationships, or responsibilities or challenges within a relationship is heavier. Perhaps you're now, going from like singlehood to like, I'm in a committed relationship, or I think I'm getting married. Whatever like relationship stuff is just coming with there's maturity to be learned here. There's restraint and boundaries and like maturity and long-term things. And like, it's very much, but at the same time, Libra rising has a lot to learn, I think, sometimes about asserting oneself, speaking, and not just harmonizing for the sake of for the sake of harmony. So that concentration of Aries, your opposite sign, the sign of like independence and asserting, and I don't give a fuck what you think. Like, there's a lot going on there for you. So this is a time to reset relationship stuff for you, like to let go of the past kind of energy. To it's like, yes, there's a lot going on in our partnerships, but it's a balance about asserting oneself and independence and also working together. And also because this new moon is conjunct Chiron, I do kind of feel like a letting go feeling. I'm like letting go of the past. I'm healing something, right? Or I'm like, I'm burning off scar tissue is sort of what it's giving to me. So big concentration of energy on partnership stuff. And I just feel like I want to say, you've come really far and there's still more to come, but just consider this moment of like setting intentions around partnerships. Scorpio rising. Okay. This is about either like tackling some kind of health thing, whether it's refreshing, exercise and health routines, physical body stuff, kind of what your health journey looks like. There's some sort of new beginning here. We're tackling some new thing, but maybe comes a little bit of restriction around it. This could be about, I want a new job, right? Or I want to refresh what my work looks like. I want to work for myself. I want more independence and authority and autonomy because it's Aries energy. And it's about, reaching out and grabbing it. It's going to take some work, right? That is certainly Mars and Saturn, but you're a fixed sign. Scorpio rising, Scorpio energy is fixed energy. It's determined. It's going to see something through to the end. So I could see you launching something, picking up a new client, offering a new service, something new with work. That comes with work, with determination. But I just think it's something that's going to be worthwhile for you. And during this new moon time, I really feel like there's a singular like focus on the grind, on your health. There could be a focus on pets here too. I also want to mention Venus, Venus, the planet of love, beauty, relationships. Don't forget she's in Taurus. She's cruising through your seventh house of partnership and relationships. Don't forget to enjoy some time with your partner, with friends, go on a date. Or if you are in some sort of like freelance thing where you're like in a client facing business, put yourself out there because people might be more attracted to wanting to hang out and spend time with you, because Venus is like kind of acting as this magnet in your partnership sector, which can include clients. So that is Scorpio rising. And also I want to mention Scorpio rising too. Mars is your ruling planet as well as Aries. So consider this Mars and Aries transit for you. Like a renewal of your spirit, a renewal of your passion and fire. And it's like, let's go out and do the hard thing because it is going to be worthwhile. Sagittarius, the new moon in Aries is happening in your fifth house, which is passions, hobbies, creativity, things that you create and give birth to in the world, children, if you have them, sexuality and pleasure. And so there's a really big concentration of energy in that area of your life. And it feels like, okay, I'm like wanting to jumpstart my passions. I'm wanting to put energy into my hobbies. I'm wanting to put energy into my creativity. Or there's maybe just a lot going on for your children at this time. Maybe they're super busy. Or it's like you're establishing a healthier relationship with them, maybe laying down the law a little bit, like laying down boundaries. Maybe there's some restrictions around children. House stuff could also be sometimes like child support, or things connected to that. But I just feel like in general, however that lands for you, Mars here and this new moon here is this injection of fire and passion into that part of your chart. Even though there's like, okay, I'm starting like a new, like, let's say it's like I'm starting a new sexual romantic relationship with someone, but they're kind of busy for a while. So like, or there's some extra hoops I have to jump through right now. Or, you know, I'm starting a new artistic project, but it takes a while to be like to gather my materials, or it's just taking a little bit for that to kind of set in. This could also be about maybe you're just experiencing blocks and it's like, I don't know why I have not been creative or felt like I wanted, you know, I haven't been felt creative in a long time, or I feel like I have nothing in the tank. I don't feel like I'm connected sexually to my partner right now. This might be about why we have a block there, or like a releasing a block of some kind, right? So really interesting energy. I would say imagination and creativity, low-key good also for this new moon as well, because Mercury and Neptune, Mercury, the mind, Neptune, like imagination, higher consciousness, higher self vibes, good for imagination, like dream work around this too. Like if you're blocked or stuck, like this could be like, I'm going to start the artist way and like do the entire thing and like rejuvenate my artistic and creative process. So there's a lot going on for you at this new moon as well. Capricorn rising, the new moon for you is falling in the fourth house. The fourth house being home, family, roots, ancestors, your foundation. And so there's a big concentration of energy for you there. You know, this could be literal. Like, could be like, hey, there's something around about my home, about my real estate. I could be moving. I could be, there's some new big phase connected to my family or connected to my parents. So this could be, you know, I could be like I could be like me in some new phase of like rejuvenating my home, right? Or like I'm in the midst of some big home project. Like it can often show up as a very literal thing. But this can also be very much like about like your personal foundation in life. This could look like kind of a reset of like, hey, like, do I feel grounded? Do I feel like I have enough money in my savings account? Do I feel, because, you know, while the second house is resources, the fourth house can just be like foundation. So this could be like a psychological kind of foundation thing. So there's something very interesting happening with like your root chakra or your roots, like your just foundational energy. And you know, Capricorn rising, your ruling planet is Saturn, the planet of maturity, of lessons, of long-term things. And Saturn is moving through your fourth house right now. Has been since February, did for a little while last year during the months of May through September. It's going to be in Aries until 2028. And so there's something about like maybe assuming more responsibility in family, about taking on something heavy relating to family or home, to making more of a permanent home for yourself. And so Mars, the planet of action, is moving through this part of your chart and will be meeting up with Saturn. So it's like we're doing something that requires long-term commitment and grit, or there's like a delay on a home project or something of that nature. But you're used to restrictions. You're used to having some perseverance and having to deal with like the kind of more grim realities of life. So you almost feel kind of well suited for this new moon energy. It's just that, so yeah, a lot of conversations on home and family, maybe releasing something or healing something around home and family, or just like being fed up and you're like, I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say the thing that's uncomfortable, because the new moon is conjunct Chiron in your fourth house of home and family too. So a lot going on there for you. And yeah, that's what I got to say to you. Oh, you know what? I'm going to say one more thing. Don't forget that Venus, the planet of love, beauty, pleasure, harmony, relationships, and sex, is in your fifth house of creative, in your fifth house of recreation, of romance, of pleasure, and creativity. So a reminder to have some fun. Venus is only here until April 24th. Venus is stunning in the sign of Taurus. She rules Taurus. So don't take those things for granted. Have a date night. This could get your creativity juiced up a little bit. Just enjoy, like make sure that you enjoy some facet of life while Venus is here as well. Aquarius rising, the new moon for you is happening in the third house. So, okay, where do we even start with this one? Okay, third house always gets you because there's a lot here. First of all, your reasoning, your thinking, your communication, it's a lot spicier. You're probably going to be saying what is on your mind more during this Aries season and not really caring as much how it sounds, or it may come out more sharp-tongued or to the point than you might normally be. Mars is with Mercury in this part of your chart. Third house is communication and correspondence. This is also travel, but not like long distance travel. This is like how you get around short trips. I'm going to say there could be maybe if you're like used to taking a certain way to work, you could find like maybe on new moon day, like around it, that's like, hey, like for some reason, traffic is just fucking annoying today. It's taking longer than usual. It could be that maybe something is up with your car, because again, there are delays and blockages around this new moon. Like we can definitely push through. We have long-term new beginnings energy here, but there's some sort of temporary restriction. So it could be that, I'm working on some kind of presentation for my job and it's just taking a little longer than I thought it would. Because third house is like, it's like communication, right? But still like new moon is new beginning. So there's a new beginning connected to, again, maybe you're like in the market for a new vehicle or a new car. Like third house is car and transfer and like transportation. So it's like, yes, something new is coming. There's more paperwork than we thought. It's going to take a little bit longer. There's maybe something new about your environment or your neighborhood. This could also be news connected to like a sibling or a family member. Usually like siblings, cousins, grandparents kind of vibes, neighbors, community members. There's just a lot going on here that could be manifesting in your world. I want to say there's something new connected to the third house is like day-to-day routines, day-to-day environment, communications, correspondence, short distance travel, learning something new. Also, you could be like studying or learning something new or taking some class connected to this new moon, because third house is kind of like your mind. So a lot going on here. Remember, Saturn is in this part of your chart too, that planet of maturity and lessons until 2028. So there's something that you're learning, whether it is like, I'm becoming like a master of my craft, or I'm like learning some new skill that's going to take a long time. Or perhaps you're dealing with something, connected to siblings or extended family members, or, so a lot here. I can't say for certain, also because I don't have your chart in front of me, exactly what's going on here. I would also say third house can be mindset sometimes too. Like what's going on in your mind, mindset. This is a good new moon to like kind of refresh your mental energy. If you have like more of a defeatist attitude, if you need to work on your beliefs, good energy for like reprogramming your mind. Pisces rising, the new moon is in your second house. Money, your assets, physical resources that support you in this life. So this energy for sure, like some kind of new beginning energy around money, around how you sustain yourself, around how you take care of yourself. We could be looking for another job. We could be asking for more money. We're just trying to find more money. And we are motivated. We are motivated to seek it out, because Mars, the new moon is ruled by Mars, moving through that second house. So like we're taking action. Maybe we have to spend more. Also too, I'd be cautious around making big purchases if you can avoid it right now, or like impulse purchases I would really guard against right now, because Mars is with Saturn. It's saying that like, hey, problems could come up if we're not thinking this through, if we're impulse spending, because Saturn is like, Saturn is telling Mars like, if you light your wallet on fire, worse things can happen after that, basically. So, so there's some kind of delay or restriction or something that we have to work through financially right now. But we're having a lot of conversations around money. But there's also a new seed of a new beginning connected to your money and resources here as well. And with Saturn moving through your second house until 2028, like we really could be thinking, gosh, I really need to have more money in my savings account. I really want to get some stuff paid off, because Saturn is like maturity and wisdom and responsibility and like long-term things. And we want long-term security. So there's some lessons around that with this energy, but also like, if you're thinking about like, I want to do a side hustle, I want to like get a new job, I want to like change something in my work, career, money flow, do it. Absolutely do it. It just may take a little bit longer. So yeah. But otherwise, use this energy of this new moon, this fire, to push past like money fears and stuff. So that's what we got. So thank you so much for sticking with me in this podcast. on the new moon in Aries. Remember, if you are wanting to work with me in my new moon circle, please do. If you can't make it live again, like you can do all of this on your own via the recording, you're going to get a resource for how to find where the new moon is in your chart. We're going to talk about the astrology of the new moon, as well as a ritual connecting to Mars and Aries, burning up fears, connecting to courage, connecting to this fiery warrior planet. So I think it's going to be awesome. And remember, if you are part of my new moon circle monthly, you also qualify for getting a mini tarot reading every month on the full moon right in your inbox. You don't have to do anything. So thanks for listening, y'all, and talk to you soon. Happy new moon.